This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Magandang gabi, tanghali, umaga, hapunan, kung anong oras kayo maabutan po ng ating diskusyon. Si Kamentong po or Herman Q. Laurel dito sa ating Talk News TV, Politics Today. And itong linggo, one of the major news item is this that you will see in the past days. The International Criminal Court launches Crimes Against Humanity inquiry into Duterte's war on drugs. Ano po ba yung International Criminal Court? Yan ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon. Ang pamagat natin, nilagay ko dyan, reject and leave the ICC. Tayo bahagi po ng International Criminal Court. Dyan sa Europa, sa Hague. And sabi nila, itong International Criminal Court para labanan ang mga katiwalian, ang mga crimes against humanity, human rights violations ng mga leader ng iba't ibang mga bansa at gobyerno. Unfortunately, there are problems here. Is it true? Totoo ba na sila ay nagtutuligsa ng mga krimen ng mga liderato na malupit sa sariling mga mamamayan o mga nagsasagawa ng genocide, meaning mass execution, massacre, and so on. So, yun ang titingnan po natin. Si Presidente Duterte, through his representative, spokesperson, Harry Roque, tinatakwil po yan, rejects the ICC. Let's look at the news report on that. Duterte spokesman reveals and rejects the ICC probe linked to the drug war. Well, ito po ang nagsasang-ayon po dito sa akin at sa mga statements ni spokesperson Harry Roque. Ito po, isang buong kontinente, one whole continent, rejects the ICC. Let's look at the next item that I prepared for you. Sabi po ng Africa, ng African Union, the ICC, the International Criminal Court, is a tool to recolonize Africa. The fact that the ICC has focused so overwhelmingly on African situations prompt questions about why the gaze of international criminal justice falls in some places and on some people and not on others. Isang halimbawa na kanilang mababanggit, pagtanungin mo, bakit yung Vietnam War, kung saan milyon po ang napatay po ng mga Amerikano, ng mga weapons of war ng Amerikano. And hanggang sa ngayon, may pinapanganak pa ng mga sanggol na walang mata, balo-baloktot ang katawan dahil sa Agent Orange, yung chemical na kanilang inispray sa Cambodia at Vietnam para malagas ang mga dahon ng mga puno at makita nila ang mga movements ng mga tropa ng kalaban nila. But that has caused mass mutation. Pero iyan hindi iniimbestigahan ng International Criminal Court. Yan ang sinasabi ng Africa. Sa aking nalista po, mga 45 mga kaso, 45 cases, overwhelmingly are African cases. In the list that I saw, the International Criminal Court has been investigating or indicting leaders in 15 African countries, maybe several of them in each country. In Asia, dalawa, Cambodia, and what is the other one? Of course, may threat ngayon na dadalhin din ng Myanmar sa International Criminal Court. Sa Latin America, isa, yung Colombia. Pero napakarami po mga Africa or African leaders. And we have this quote on the ICC. Did I read this already? Let's take a look at that fourth image. They are now, sabi ng Africa, tungkol sa ICC, they are, sa mga kanluran, mga bansa sa kanluran, they are now using the new creation, the International Criminal Court, to steal Africans from Africa, to put on show trials in Western Europe, and this has been seen as a means of destabilizing the African continent, something which then makes the political domination of Africa and the subsequent exploitation of African minerals and resources that much easier. Well, hindi lang ngayon Africa, pati Pilipinas gusto nilang guluhin, i-destabilize kasi alam naman natin si Presidente Duterte ay nanindigan na hindi na siya magpapatuta tulad ng lahat ng mga nakaraang mga gobyerno ng Pilipinas, hindi na siya magpapatuta sa kanluran at aayusin niya ang maraming bagay dito sa Pilipinas, including itong lumalaki na scourge ang tawag sa English, no? Ano bang masasabi natin sa Pilipino yung scourge? Peste, pestilence ng droga. So, alam po ba ninyo that the United States is not a signatory to the International Criminal Court, pero silang pinakamaingay at pinakamaraming gustong ilagay na ilitis sa International Criminal Court. Ang ibang hindi miyembro po, ang Russia, umalis na itong nakaraang 2016. Dati, signatory ang Russia. Disgustado ang Russia. Bakit hindi kasama ang Estados Unidos dyan? Of course, China will not agree to be part of this farce. And tatlong bansa sa Africa ang aalis na. Yung isa umalis na, Burundi. Ang Gambia ay aalis na rin. At ang South Africa, ang pinakamalaking at pinakarespetadong bansa sa Africa, ang South Africa, ay may anunsyo na sila ay aalis sa International Criminal Court. And so we have a list of these cases. Can we also look at that? ICC cases. All Africans or Asians. Ito po, nabasa ko ang bahagi nito kanina, ang mga bansa na involved na sa mga kaso sa ICC, Burundi, Central African Republic, Totoo, Darfur, Sudan, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Georgia, that's in Europe, in Eastern Europe, Kenya, Libya, Mali, Uganda, Colombia, Gabon, Guinea, Iraq, yung mga barko na involved sa mga kaso, isa registered sa Palestine, o registered sa Comoros Island, Greece, and so on. So, yan ang alam naman natin, sa Vietnam War, sa Korean War, marami pong sa mga genocide sa Africa, well, anyway, let's move on. So, maraming kaso and it's very convincing na itong International Criminal Court ay very biased. Bakit marami pang African countries and maraming countries ang sumali dyan? Well, una-una, maraming naniwala tulad ng Russia. Pero umatras na nga ang Russia. At marami naman na pupuwersa, lalo na sa Africa, yung mga mahirap na bansa, na pupuwersa ng mga malalaking bansa sa kanluran, wala kayong mauutang sa amin, wala kayong dollar aid, etc., etc., kung hindi kayo sumama dyan. And so, we'll give you a hint of how we can fight the pressures from the powerful Western countries. But let us go on. Isang pinakamalaking kaso ng ICC na nagsimula sa aking pagkadisgusto rin, personal, dyan sa ICC, ito pong ginawa nila sa itong leader na to sa Africa, sa North Africa. Let's look at this. Of course, I'm referring to Libya. Noong kanilang dinidisney, ni-regime change na ang Libya, Matapos na ang Libya ay binitawan na ang kanilang weapons of mass destruction program, yung mga chemical weapons projects and so on, para makiisa na doon sa international human rights regimen and so on. Nagtangka na ang Estados Unidos sa likod ng Italia, Frances in particular pala, and sa France, at naalala po ninyo, that was in 2011 or 2012, they called for no-fly zone, R2P, yung protection of the people daw, and so on. Eventually, Gaddafi was murdered. Have they put to the ICC the murderers of Gaddafi? Including the family, the son, Al-Saif of Gaddafi, has been indicted by the ICC. So this is purely geopolitical and political. And yung indictment kay Gaddafi, kanilang ginawa lang nung sinasalakay na nila ang Libya when they were already attacking Libya. Not years before and proving that there was genocide or anything there. And eventually, after Gaddafi died, a few years later, we saw the chaos in Libya. We saw also the regrets of very many people and very many Libyans, and even our own of the OFWs who lost their jobs in Libya, which was one of the highest paying jobs in the Middle East and in North Africa and in Africa for OFWs. And Gaddafi, later on, all this came out, the truth came out, gave the best social benefits to their people, had massive water projects to green Libya, and so on. But the West doesn't want that. One of the key crimes of Gaddafi against the West was the gold dinar that he was planning. Naghahanda siya ng isang pera batay sa ginto at yaman ng Libya na magiging currency po ng buong Africa. At magiging independente na sila sa dolyares. So that is what ICC did to Gaddafi. There is another case that is very significant. Ito po sa Sudan. Dahil ang Sudan nag-unite, North and South Sudan became one, but the Americans wanted to break it apart. The Europeans too wanted to break it apart. So si al-Bashir, presidente ng Sudan at that time, in-indict ng ICC ulit. At sinabi nag-genocide dahil may civil war. Samantalang ang Western powers supporting yung rebellion doon sa South Sudan. Eventually, they called for the arrest of al-Bashir, but ang Africa ay diskustado na. Nung umikot-ikot si al-Bashir doon sa gitna, naka-Amerikana, at nag-attend ng mga komperensya sa iba't ibang mga bansa sa Africa, African countries refused to arrest Sudan's President al-Bashir. Galit na galit ang ICC. Hindi nila maaresto because the African nations no longer wanted to cooperate with the ICC. So, we now have this situation where a Filipino leader elected by the people trying to do what is good for the country, and because of domestic politics, and this is something we have to discuss about our own political system here. In the opposition, no matter how principled, how good, they have to engage in this acrimonious adversarial politics to stand out as opposition. Kaya walang mangyayari po sa landas ng Pilipinas. Ang sistema mismo, ang siyang nag-uudyok ng away, siraan at paninira. At Iyan, our opposition is compelled to collaborate with the centuries-old enemies from the West, the colonizers. So, anong solusyon? Well, of course, our independent foreign policy initiated by President Duterte is one. And many of the African countries are relying on their own unity. And the rest of the world, and I was going to bring up this image of the Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa alliance, to help all these new nations and smaller nations gain strength through unity against the Western colonizers, hegemonists, imperialists, that continue. Let us not accept all this talk about the West being democratic and so on. No, they are a culture, they have a culture and civilization of aggression. And someday we will discuss this with some of our scholars who have studied this. And anyway, ngayong panahon na ngayon, tapos na po ang Western arrogance. Hindi na nila kaya. Tulad sa Africa, hindi nila maaresto si al-Bashir. Of course, for the peace of their country, al-Bashir eventually agreed to the partition, again, of Sudan, North and South Sudan. Ngayon ang South Sudan naman nagkakagulo. North Sudan under Bashir is doing all right and doing very well. In Asia, they are also targeting Myanmar through the Rohingya issue. But what they cannot do now that they used to do before, these Americans, these British, these French, these Europeans, is that Asia is now becoming the center of power of the world with China rising, and let them try in this region. Unfortunately, dito sa Pilipinas, maraming American boys, mga amboys, na kahol ng kahol para doon sa mga issues ng kanluran laban sa anumang gobyerno ang tumayo dito sa Pilipinas na talagang naninindigan sa soberenya at independensya nitong bansang ito at kapakanan nitong bansang ito. So, this is the lesson I want to impart with you in my senior age. I've gone through all these questions in the past. Itong ICC has been a major topic of mine in what I've written before. Yung mga sinusulat ko, na ito ay hindi po dapat natin sang-ayunan at tangkilikin itong International Criminal Court. Ibasura po natin yan. Let us withdraw. The Philippines should withdraw from the ICC. And call on ASEAN to withdraw from the ICC. Wala naman pakinabang ang ASEAN din, ang mga bansa sa ASEAN, dyan sa ICC. And may bad blood naman between many of the countries in the ASEAN, in the region, against all these Western impositions and this ICC. Cambodia has been a victim of this ICC and others. Ngayon, Myanmar, ay tinatarget nila, liban dito sa ating presidente at ating mga programa para sa pag-aayos ng ating kapayapaan dito sa Pilipinas. You can expect more. If we continue to stay with the ICC, we can expect more harassment from the ICC, and often instigated by our Filipinos in the opposition, because they have to instigate all these to get a crack at the powers of the state. So let us reject and leave the ICC, but although that is not the position yet of President Duterte, and there are many other issues that are priorities, but eventually I think, and there has been prior or previous signs and signals from President Duterte that this is one of the options that he can and he has been considering. So this is a priority issue for us. Kung ito ay magpatuloy, hindi lang po si Presidente, mga susunod na mga Presidente na malaya ang isip at isip lang ang kapakanan ng bayan at hindi po yung mga gusto ng Western powers, mapiperwisyo din at baka madisgrasya pa tayo tulad ng mga bansa sa Africa na tumatahak ng landas na ayaw ng kanluran, landas na para sa kanilang sariling kapakanan, sa sariling bayan nila, at pagpapaganda ng kinabukasan nila. So, thank you very much. Again, let us reject and leave the International Criminal Court like many of the countries in Africa, like Russia, and more in the coming years. Mabuhay po. And in our second segment, we'll talk about dictatorial style is better, sabi ni Presidente Duterte. Okay, let's take